Chef Jay here. We're gonna make cranberry sauce today. Cranberry sauce from scratch is really a pretty simple process. It takes about 20-30 minutes and very little effort actually, and it turns out amazingly well. If you like the stuff from the can and just the shape of it, that's totally fine. You'll wanna add a little bit of gelatin to this recipe, just some of the Knox unflavored gelatin. I'll talk about that as we get into cooking it. And then you can put it into a round mold and have it look just like the can. But honestly, the flavor of this is way better than anything you're gonna get out of a can, for real. So you're gonna need a pound of cranberries. You're gonna need the juice and the zest from one orange, 1 cup of sugar, pinch of salt, pinch of black pepper. I know those don't necessarily make sense, but I promise they're valuable to this recipe and they make a big difference. And then a shot of an orange liqueur. I use Cointreau. If you want to use Grand Marnier, that's great. Don't use triple sec or anything like that. Use either Grand Marnier or Cointreau if you're going to use the liquor, but that's an optional thing as well. Really simple. You're going to put a pan over low heat, add the cranberries, the water, the sugar, and then the zest and the juice from the orange, and just let that simmer on low. Let's get to cooking. All right, so you can see the sugar's melted. We're starting to get a little juicy in here. This is after about 10 minutes. We're just barely starting to bubble, and some of these are starting to break open just a little bit. So we're gonna increase the heat to about a medium. I'm gonna turn it to about I'm gonna go with a 6. We'll let that simmer for about another, probably another 5 to 7 minutes. Now, if you like a little bit more rustic sauce, I should have mentioned this before you got started on this. If you like a more rustic sauce, reserve 20 to 25% of your berries. Like, don't put them in, like hold that much out. So like if you're doing 1 pound of berries, hold out between 2 and 4 ounces, which is about half a cup or so. Hold that aside, and you won't put that in until the very end. You will just give it just enough time for those berries to kind of soften up. It'll give you a nice kind of a chunky texture to it. This one, by the time it's done, it's gonna have a little texture, but it's gonna be fairly smooth just because of how far we're gonna cook these down. Okay, so we've been going for about 8 minutes, 8-9 minutes here. You can see most of the berries have burst, and it's getting all nice and thick and kind of like a jelly consistency. That's what we're going for. Usually about this point, I'll kind of start keeping an eye on it and stirring a little more frequently just so it doesn't burn, because we're still over about a medium heat, and we need that heat to finish bursting the rest of the berries. But it's just, give it a little more time and attention at this point, just so you don't burn it and scorch it. All right, so here we are. You can see there's still a few berries in there that haven't ruptured. I'm okay with that. That's always going to be the case. You always have like just a couple in there. Once the sauce cools, it'll totally smooth out. You can see that nice thick jelly consistency. Now, if you want to add the gelatin, this is when you add it. The way you're going to do that is you're going to dump the little packet of gelatin into a bowl. You can add about 2 tablespoons of cold water to that gelatin and let it set for about 10 minutes. That's to bloom the gelatin. After 10 minutes, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of hot water to it, just to kind of melt that gelatin, and then you're going to pour it right into here. It should be in liquid form by the time you get it in here, but the heat here will help melt that gelatin as well. Stir it very well. You want to make sure it's completely incorporated so you don't end up with just a ball of gelatin sticking somewhere. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to add our Cointreau. So I got a shot of Cointreau. We'll just add that in. Because the temperature of this is so hot, most of the alcohol is just going to kind of evaporate, but it's going to leave that awesome little flavor to it. We're going to add a pinch of salt. We're going to add just a little bit of black pepper. That's about half a teaspoon. So we'll throw that in there too. Mix that through. And we'll give that just maybe 1 or 2 minutes to kind of come together. All right, so there we are, finished cranberry sauce. You can see that just kind of steaming there. I'm gonna go ahead and give that just a taste because, that's part of my job and it's my favorite part of my job. So, cranberry sauce from scratch. Mama, that's good. Savor the day.